Hello and welcome to another edition of HughesRound. It is Monday the 26th of April 2021. Kind of losing track of the days here with all this COVID, lockdowns, nonsense, bullshit, Brexit, toxic nostalgia, everything else. But I'm going to have to address, I would say, the elephant in the room. Address the room. Because Boris Johnson... Apparently, there's a recording of him saying, with 3 witnesses, let the bodies pile high in their thousands. He said this during the second lockdown, so this must have been back in October or November last year, probably November. He would rather see piles of dead bodies in the mortuaries, in the hospitals, on the gurneys, than go for a third lockdown over winter. And his stupidity, ignorance, scumbaggery, sociopathology led to the deaths of 150,000 people in this country. 150,000 people. In other countries where they've handled this much better, like Vietnam, bigger population than the UK, and yet they've had a handful of deaths, a few dozen, not many. We've had 150,000, and the guy in charge said, let the bodies pile high in their thousands. So obviously we're going to have a bit of discussion on, who leaked this and who was there and whose agenda this is and blah, 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 blah. But at the end of the day, if anyone in this country still supports Boris Johnson after today, then they probably need locking up with him. Maybe not in a prison, but probably in a hospital where they can get the treatment that they need so they can, rejoin society as balanced human beings, because they're obviously not one of those things at the moment. So I'll jump into the chat. Obviously, this is a lot of what we're going to be talking about today. But we've got John Barleycorn saying hello. We've got Carl Birchall. We've got Adrian Wilson saying hello. Graham and HughesRound. We've got Lee saying hello. We've got Suzanne Nicol saying hi everyone. We've got Graham Haller saying afternoon all. Just stacking up the bodies for Bojo. Yeah, with a pitchfork. Henk is saying hello. We've got the Freckle Puny here. We've got Euros. We've got Thorby saying hi. Hi, Thorby. We've got Freckle Puny saying Heaven 17 need to re-release their hit Temptation and rename it Corruption. Is that the one that goes, Temptation? Is that Heaven 17? They were named after one of the records in the record shop in the movie Clockwork Orange. True story. So what you're saying is BJ is a lying sociopath. Say it ain't so, Graham, says Euros. I know. This is just gonna be nuts. I'm gonna blow your freaking mind. But Boris Johnson is an out-and-out scumbag who would he would taser his own mother if he could just crawl over her body in order to further his own career. Afternoon all, says Tim Ballum. We've got Bioberg saying it's those foreigners, it's their fault. Jason says Tories have no integrity. That goes for politicians and the 46% that enable them. Yeah. I mean, there's an argument to say that in the past, Tories had some integrity, but they all left in 2019, and now the only Tories that are left are scumbags. So, let's talk a bit about the line of succession, because someone's probably going to have to take over from Boris Johnson if this actually sticks. Please let it stick. Now, a few people have said, but Graham, if Boris Johnson goes, then somebody else will take over, and they'll be even worse, because yes, arguably, Gove is worse than Johnson. Priti Patel, I have no doubt, is worse, objectively, than Johnson. She is scum incarnate, whereas he is scum incarnate. But I mean, there's certain levels, I guess. I don't know. But Rishi Sunak, with his 11 houses, a guy born into so much wealth, the idea that he could possibly make himself familiar to people of the working class or even lower middle class. No. Okay, so the thing is, the person who might replace him might be worse than Boris Johnson. Yes. However, they won't be as charismatic as him. That's it. The one thing that's keeping the Tories together throughout the economic, pandemic, and sociological disaster that has been the last 11 years is the fact that they've got a charismatic leader. You take out that charismatic leader, the whole house of cards falls down. Look at UKIP's votes, deserting them once the tapeworm, the foghorn, the bollocks-faced foghorn of ignorance that is Nigel Farage, pissed off to make his own Brexit Party, and make some money out of it. Because he's always on the make, that guy. He's always on the make. Can't trust him. He's always on the make. You know that guy in the Fast Show? He says, "You can't trust me." Wink, wink. Yeah, that's Farage. We've got David is here. We've got Alex Green. We've got Nick, walking and listening Graham. Oh, good stuff. We've got Ernie Burns saying the problem with the elephant in the room is no one takes up the shovel and the bucket. True. Remember when Bojo said we should expect to lose relatives to COVID? Yes. I remember when he said that he was shaking hands with people with COVID and he's very proud of the fact that he was shaking hands with people with COVID. And he said maybe we should just take it on the chin. Take it on the chin. 150,000 people are dead. I'm supposed to take it on the chin. And yet, thousands of morons went out in London on Saturday afternoon, to protest against the lockdown that has saved thousands of lives. Because just look at the graph. Look at that graph. Look at the deaths in the UK compared with other countries around Christmas time, and we just go off the chart. The only country that joins us is America. And from the moment that Trump lost his election, you just watch that go up because he didn't give a toss. No one was putting anything in place to try and save people's lives and don't put them in danger. And you see, and it's actually the day after the insurrection day, so it's January the 7th, that you see that line come down. Coincidence? Maybe the wave was over. Whatever. But the fact that Biden's not even 100 days in yet, and he has managed to get, was it 200 million vaccinations out to people, taking it seriously? He's already brought in a $2 trillion COVID relief package. He's now bringing in a $2 trillion infrastructure overhaul, which includes a massive green package. I mean, wow. He's turned out, hasn't he? He's turned out all right. Old Biden. He's got a few things to do. I don't know if he's finally raised the ceiling on how many refugees that America's going to take each year. He should have done a couple of months ago. But aside from that, he's been going great guns in the first 100 days. Yeah, good. Keep up with it. And it's nice. It's nice, actually, to have a politician somewhere in the world that isn't utterly and completely letting me down. Not just me, but I mean humanity. Letting humanity down, because that seems to be what most politicians do. They get into power and then they go, I'm going to destroy your hopes and dreams, while feathering my own nest. Yes. Hi, Graham. Will any amount of corruption Will any amount of corruption change English electors' intentions? Said Sandy Reid. No, I don't think so. I don't think. I really just don't think that it is a. I think what will change people's minds is the fact that if I want Gove to become leader, okay, and I might get, I might get stung because he is a Scorpion. I might get stung halfway across the river saying this, but he has all the charisma of a bag of puss, and so there is a very good chance that if he becomes leader, the Tories will be toppled. The Tories will be toppled before the next election because he'll be that unpopular. He is horrible to look at. He is horrible to listen to. He is, well, so is Johnson as well. But whereas Johnson has a bit of a personality, Gove has no personality whatsoever except smug, greasy, weirdo with a penis nose. Actually, the picture that I had up of Boris Johnson before, if you look at this, he's got a penis nose as well, which reminds me of the judge from, oh God, what was that terrible movie with Dan Aykroyd in and Demi Moore? Come on. It was like they let Dan Aykroyd make a movie and it was bloody awful. And he played a judge with a penis for a nose. It was literally called Something Awful or something like that. Someone will tell me in the comments, I'm sure. What was that terrible Dan Aykroyd film with with Demi Moore. That's your homework for now. Someone wants to look that up on YouTube. Facebook. No, Google. God, get me franchises mixed up here. Right, so Dave Townsend said, this is not the Conservatives of the old party. They've been taken over by the far right. You're absolutely right. Johnson does have form. Remember when he said Libya could have a great tourist trade once they cleared all the dead bodies? That was from the city of Sirte. And he said this like about a place where people had just died. Callous indifference. He's a psychopath. The guy is a psychopath. An out-and-out psychopath. He knows exactly what he's doing, and he's very manipulative, and people like him because they think that he's on their side when he's not. He's only on one side, and it's the side of Boris Johnson. Whatever's good for Boris. Did you have a chance to send me the book? I'm excited to read it. No, I was going to send it this morning, but I've been in meetings all morning about the Festival of Europe, so sorry. But I'll try and get that through to you in the afternoon. Put up a screen at the end of my show with all my patrons on, and I was asked by a couple of my patrons not to put their full names on. I thought, oh yeah, that's a good point. So what I've done is I've amended the page now, so it just has your first name and your initial, unless you are a pseudonym anyway, and then I've just left it as it was. So I hope that's okay. What I might do actually is go back and just take that off the end of last night's video, because you can obviously trim the end of videos and things on YouTube. Right, okay, where was I? Ernie Gove can lie well enough, but turns to jelly when he's put under pressure and has the charisma of chewing gum stuck to your shoe. I think that's very offensive as chewing gum stuck to your shoe, Ernie. This country goes from bad to worse. Yeah, but if this is it. Have we reached rock bottom yet? Have we reached rock bottom? We've got the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom wishing British people dead in piles. Have we reached rock bottom? Have we? Are these knobheads who just vote for these people because they think it's funny? They think it's all a freaking game? Are they going to continue to vote for them? Are the families of the 150,000 victims of this tyrannical regime that has just ran this whole program of trying to deal with the deadliest pandemic mankind has had to deal with in over 100 years. And they've come out of it, and they're still 45% in the polls after doing the worst job imaginable, the highest death rate in Europe, and that the worst economic hit of any of the 40 advanced nations of the world. Gove is beyond creepy. He is. Well, that was something that we talked about yesterday. It was like, they're all really creepy. All of the Tories, you wouldn't leave your kids with them. You wouldn't. You just wouldn't. It's like when you talk to a Trump voter and you say to them, would you leave your kids with him? And they'll be like, I wouldn't leave my kids with any politician. No. Imagine he's not a politician. Just the man, Trump. Would you leave your children alone with him? Well, I don't. They won't answer the question. If they do, they go, no. And then you go, oh, but you're happy for him to be in charge of the country. You wouldn't leave him in charge of your children, but you would leave him in charge of an entire nation, which includes your children, dickhead. But yeah, people don't think that way. I don't know. Carl says, nope, the religion of money has captured one half of the Tory base, and the other half are the ones happy to cheer anything wrapped in a flag they identify with. Yes. Those famous British flags with the strategically placed holes in them. Right, so I am going to open up I'm going to open up the stereo. So if anyone wants to call me via stereo just to see if it's working, if Lee wants to give me a call there, or Glasgow Kiss, you please give it a go. Give it a go. It might work, and we can talk about Boris Johnson. If it doesn't work, then I'll just cry myself to sleep tonight again. As always. I don't. It's just like. Right, anyway. Nope, the religion of money. Yeah. So, time for entryism. Join the Tories and vote for Gove. Best for Britain relaunched this morning. And by relaunch, I mean the slogan is, don't mention the B word. Really? Is that like a joke, or is that actually... Let's have a look. Best for Britain. I'm looking at the website here. I don't see that. Truly global. Truly global UK. Okay, so they're trying to forge closer relations with Europe without. They think that the whole Brexit thing is toxic, but I don't. I think it is toxic, of course, but I don't think it's toxic to mention it because I like to use it to bash people over the head with. But there's lots of routes to the same destination, which is us eventually rejoining the bloody EU. Plumduff, sorry, Kevin Hegarty, responding to Plumduff. I thought women were more interested in personality and not money. Well, there you go. Right, I have Lee Corn on the line. Let's see if this works. Hello, Lee. Yeah, just 1 second. Do you want to say that again?
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you fine. I wonder if the people listening can hear you. If you can, let me know in the comments. Can we hear Lee? Someone let me know. And in the meantime, Lee, you can chat. You can say something. Say hello. And does he sound all right? If you can hear him, is he really crackly or does he sound fine to you? So go on. What do you want to say? What do you want to say?
The Best for Britain relaunch this morning.
Yeah.
I think we might have been at cross purposes.
Yeah, because I was talking about Boris Johnson and you were fuming, and I was like, no, this is a good thing. We'll get rid of Boris Johnson. And you're like, but I'm going to kill everything and everyone. Ah! Like that. I can hear Lee, but he's a bit quiet. Okay, let's see if we can knock the... I'm just going to knock your gain up a little bit. I'm going to knock you up. Is that all right? Okay. Yeah. There you go. Okay.
Yeah. What's that like now? Is that better?
Yeah, you seem to be coming up a little bit higher. I think because I'm a big gob and I've got me mic here. Go on, keep talking. Keep talking. Keep talking, God damn it.
Yeah.
Oh no. We seem to got the sound working, but now I've got terrible connection issues. Come back.
I can hear you.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I can hear you. Go on, say what you're going to say about Best for Britain. It's like a transatlantic phone call, this, isn't it? Hello? What the hell is going on here? Why is it just working? Why won't you just work? Ah! Right. Sorry? Right. Lee, I can't hear you, mate. You're breaking up. You're breaking up. Why does technology hate me so much? What did I ever do to technology to make it dislike me this much? There you go. Oh, Jesus. Right, so what I'm going to do is turn that off and then say stay, because otherwise... There you go. I don't want a new chat partner. Go away. Oh, okay. So I'm getting... Stereo's trying to put me through to someone random. No, you can stop doing that now. You can stop doing that now. You can stop doing that now. Oh. I'm just going to have to... Oh, this is better. Okay, right. Lee.
Yeah.
Hello, Lee. Yes, I can hear you now. So you're breaking up. I could only hear every other word.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So Best for Britain. What they were saying was, we're not. It's the move to more an internationalist. They call themselves internationalists now,
right?
Rather than pro-European. And it's
Fair enough.
they pretty much said, well, we didn't, we can't keep. It's like Keir Starmer. We can't keep fighting these old battles. We have to move on and look to global Britain and all this sort of stuff. And they're literally avoiding using the word Brexit or talking about Europe. And then we had Emily Thornberry on it, and she was basically saying exactly the same sort of thing. Caroline Lucas on it. She really didn't talk about Europe very much until the end. When at the end, they had people, journalists, asking questions, and the second from last journalist was Will Hutton, and he basically said, "It seems to me that you're just waving the white flag on Europe and rejoin." And then Naomi Smith was visibly peeved about this. She could see she wasn't very happy about it, and she didn't let anybody else answer. She just gave an answer, which was like, oh, we're internationalists, blah blah blah. We want to help Britain trade better around the world and all this sort of stuff. And then Caroline Lucas, after the last question, Caroline Lucas is the only one who meant, she said that she was still for rejoin. Emily Thornberry, basically, one of the questions was along similar lines, and she was like, well, I thought I'd given a really good answer in my, I thought I'd explained that in my answer about Labour's stance on things. And it was like, well, no, you haven't. That's why nobody's really, that's why people are asking the question. But I don't know. You'd have to watch it. I was not happy.
You're absolutely fuming. Well, that's fair enough.
Yeah.
I mean, like, what's the beeping sound? Is that me? Is that me, or is that your phone beeping at me?
My phone's not beeping, so I don't know.
Do you know what? It's probably bloody because I've got stereo still running in the background. There you go. Right, got rid of stereo. Maybe the stupid noises will end now. So I agree. I mean, this seems to me like more sort of the Labour line of let's give up and try and work with what we've got. But what we've got is it's impossible. It's like trying to make a car out of a plate of spaghetti. You just can't do it. I mean, you can have all the will in the world, but you can't make these countries around the world any freaking closer or any freaking richer. And we've just got this deal that's supposed to be coming in with Australia that's going to give £900 million more to Britain. Yay! But then it's going to give the Australians over £4 billion more to their trade. And it's like, so basically they've just given us what they want and we've just signed it. We said, yeah, that's fine. Yeah. And so what they're going to do is flood our market with their sheep because they have millions of sheep which weren't really allowed to get into the EU without massive tariffs over 40% slapped on every single one of those damn sheep. They're going to just destroy the British, whatever's left of our domestic farming, because they can't export anymore. You look at the farming figures, farm export figures for January and February. It's gone off a cliff. It's gone off an absolute cliff. But okay, you can still sell it domestically, right? Yeah, no, because we're going to get Australian lamb over, and it's going to be made at such great levels of the quantity of sheep that they have in these vast paddocks, which are the size of Wales itself. You know, it's all owned by one farmer. You're like, they've got sheep on an industrial scale, and our farmers don't stand a chance against that. So at every opportunity to trade with the rest of the world is going to negatively impact the traders in Britain selling the same stuff.
It's like Liz Truss was on yesterday talking about the Australian deal, and she's like, "Oh, we're just trying to encourage more companies to export more." And you're like, "Well, you just put barriers up on our closest and biggest trading bloc. You just put barriers up to exporting to it. So, and then you're telling people you need to export more. It just doesn't make any sense, does it?"
No. Well, it makes sense if you're a Brexiteer, because it's better to live. It's better to be in chains and poor than to be free and rich, something like that. I don't really know what their ideology is, but basically, if you were born poor and you die poor, then that's a big thumbs up. If you were born rich and you die richer, that's a double, triple thumbs up. Especially if your kid inherits, say, I don't know, £11 billion and doesn't have to pay any inheritance tax on it. That's good, isn't it? If you're Duke of Westminster's kid. Woo! But what do you think about the Boris Johnson? So can we talk about the Boris Johnson thing then a little bit? Because obviously,
yes, you want.
That's what I thought you were talking about. You were like, "Are you listening to this?" And I was like, "I don't know. I'm just looking at the news." But yeah,
I was thinking Graham's gone soft.
Yeah, I was like, I'm all for it, and you're like talking about giving up. I'm like, no, it's not what I meant at all. Ah! But yeah, screaming.
Richard Wilson was on the chat on that as well, and he didn't seem very happy either.
So Nick says screaming about rejoin won't work. You have to put the case forward, and that is what Best for Britain is about. Well, I don't think we have to scream to rejoin, Nick. The idea is you have a roadmap to rejoin, and it starts with steps. The first step is rejoining Erasmus and sorting out special visas so that our artists and our musicians and European artists and musicians can travel freely between the UK and the EU and work. And then it's pushing for rejoining the single market and the customs union. Because as soon as we do that, then the argument that is really easy to make is like, why are we're having to follow these rules because it's better for the economy, and we've all agreed that now, obviously. But we don't have any say in them. Hey, why don't we have some say in what goes down in the EU? So to me, that's the way to do it. Not necessarily to say, oh, we believe in global Britain, because that's stealing the Tories line.
Yeah, they're just mimicking the Leavers. They're just using the same. They're basically saying, oh well, we've lost it. We just got to get over it and make do with what we've got. But they're even saying, oh, the single market and customs unions are an old battle to fight. It's not. We have to look to the future.
Well, I mean,
going over old ground.
It's just if I hadn't seen so much poverty around the world with my own eyes, I might think, oh yeah, there's a big world out there. Surely we can make some money out of it. But there's just so little money in the rest of the world. It's painful. You look at the division of the wealth of the world. It's America, the EU, China, Japan, and then everyone else. Just like everyone else is in this little tiny slither of the birthday cake. And if you got that slither, you'd be like, is that it? Is that all I get? It's my birthday. I want the bigger slice. Thank you very much. What? Am I being unreasonable here? What? And to try and think that we're going to in any way replicate the trade that we had with the EU by trading with all of these countries put together, it's just not going to happen. Plus, a trade deal is only one step on the way to trade. You actually have to set up the businesses, send people out to, I don't know where the hell we're going to trade with, Mogadishu or somewhere, and then they have to meet someone, they have to sit down and have a conversation, say, right, we're going to start an office here, we're going to sell this product here, and we're going to market it, and you've got to pay for marketing, you've got to pay for, in a country that's barely getting on its feet, what are we going to sell them? Christian said, your biggest problem is that you can't choose if you want revenge or results. I understand it's difficult, but that's your choice. Revenge? I don't want revenge. I just think there's a path to the UK, well, Wangland rejoining the EU, and it's going to take a bloody long time. But I don't see that jumping on the sort of global Britain brand of the Tories it's like going, hey, yeah, we're going to have a northern powerhouse. It's like, it's just meaningless. Global Britain, we've always been a global power. We've always had a global market. We've always bought New Zealand freaking lamb, even though we don't have a free trade deal with New Zealand. We had these smaller treaties in place. There's 750 of them through the EU that allowed us to buy the stuff that we wanted to buy and not get our markets flooded by stuff that would destroy our domestic producers. And so, yeah, I mean, I'm not demanding that we rejoin the EU tomorrow, because I don't think that's going to happen, and I don't think that it would be a good thing for Britain to rejoin the EU tomorrow when there's so much negative feeling towards the EU from people in the UK at the moment. I think there needs to be a sea change in public opinion before we even think about rejoining the EU. But that's not to say that we can't start the journey. We can't start pushing for rejoining Erasmus, for eventually rejoining the single market, the customs union, or some version of it. Like we can have our own bespoke customs union, single market rules. I don't understand why we can't just do that with labelling, to be honest with you. Just, we say, right, if we get anything from anywhere else, it has to be labelled clearly where it's from, and as long as we abide by those rules, and that stuff only is sold in the UK, then great. If you find anything with that label on and it's being sold in Europe, then you can chase it up and fine whoever needs fining. So, what do you think anyway?
Me.
Yeah.
You know my opinion. I think we need to push for how do you say, a roadmap. One thing they did say was they mentioned about like trying to basically improve the deal that we've got, make that better. But I mean, you could do, but once you get into it, you're better off just going into the single market and customs union. It's just, or like say some sort of labelling mechanism, or joining in the EFTA or something like that. Any of those things would be better than what we've got at the moment.
But I think they would be best highlighting the suffering of people in the UK as a result of Brexit and making it very, very clear. I mean, what are we going to do?
The base they just don't want to talk about Brexit.
But that's the job that politicians need to do. They're not going to set up trade bloody routes around to India or anything. They're not going to go there and actually set up businesses. So what's the point? You know, saying, we want to encourage business. Okay, well, give me £500,000 and I'll go to Malaysia and I'll try and sell some chocolate bars or whatever you want me to sell you. You know, I don't understand why a political pressure group would say, you know, just go in with the Tories and say, yes, we need to talk about trade, when I don't think that's their job. I think there's people who do that as a living and set these things up, and maybe if they want to start an entrepreneurs club called Best for Britain, it's an entrepreneurs club. I don't know, but I don't know. It just seems a bit weird. But I don't know enough about it. Lee, you're gonna have to tell me more. You're gonna have to tell me more because I don't really.
The video's online. You can watch the launch. It's only about half an hour long, maybe a bit longer than that, but with questions and stuff like that. But yeah. I see what you think. Maybe I'm just misinterpreting it, but there are other people on there who are really like, a lot of people are like, oh yeah, that's great. I know we're talking about science and stuff, so Mike Goldsworthy seems to be chucking his oar in at the beginning, which is fair enough, you know, because they're talking about the positivity about international cooperation on science and research. But then towards the end, there was people saying, you know, especially when Will Hutton asked the questions and about raising the white flag, there's quite a few people who are saying, yeah, he's the only person who's actually reading my mind, who's saying the things that I'm thinking, you know, that this seems like we're just giving up. So,
well, I'm looking at the website here, and you know, the first thing is support us. So, like, you know, free mug and t-shirt, whatever, and then you've got like the new report towards a modern UK EU trade relationship. So the first thing on the top of their site at the moment is something about the EU and the UK. The third thing on their site, this is going through the slides, is for people to sign up to get involved, and there's a picture of two men shaking hands, and one of them's got a Britain flag and one of them's got an EU flag. So from the looks of their website, I wouldn't sign up to this if I was a Brexiteer thinking that Brexit is boss. So I don't know. I mean, I think that maybe they're just trying to realign what their message is to, you know, so they don't feel like they're refighting some old battle that's been lost.
Well, that's fine, but the basic is almost like, I mean, difficult to compare it against what's on the website to what they actually said in the presentation, but it literally, we're not fighting. Those are old battles. We don't need to fight them again. And talking about like not looking back on old stuff, looking forward and things like that. It's just the usual.
I think that we should look back on the old battles just to suss out where we mucked up and not make the same mistakes again. One of the biggest mistakes we made, from the Remain movement, was first of all concentrating too much on the negative impacts of Brexit. And not promoting. This is even before. Actually, even forget about Remain. Before the referendum, the case was, don't leave the EU. It'll be disastrous. It wasn't, oh my God, look at this amazing stuff that the EU's done for us. And so there is some balance to be done there. Look, I'm guilty of that as well because my show's called Brexit Reality. So I basically slag off, you know, Brexit. Fair enough, But
Best for Britain is kind of like that, isn't it? It's trying to, you know, highlight the positives of, you know, it's best for us to stay in there, but it was already too late by the time that started. If they said we lost the referendum, you're we had a Tory government that was convinced on pushing through some sort of crappy deal.
Yeah.
And they were, and so all they were doing was really just kind of trying to, I suppose, mitigate the worst parts of Brexit. But I don't know. I mean, by that point, I think we had already lost that battle.
But the thing is, now that it's actually happened, I mean, bloody hell, Brexit is one massive stick to beat the Tories with. I mean, we're seeing our economy getting ripped apart. We're seeing the fisher folk who were the talisman, the people who are held up as like, no matter what happens, the fishermen will be saved to get their fish and sell their fish wherever they want to, anywhere in the world. Turns out Bhutan don't want too many of our fish, surprisingly. But like, our bivalve mollusks. But yeah, I don't understand why political parties, the Greens, the Labour lot, the Lib Dems, why they're not using it and just smashing the Tories over the head with it, going into Tory constituencies, finding people whose lives have been ruined by this and highlighting it. And they're not. They're just like, oh, well, what can be done? What can be done? Anything, everything. A week is a long time in politics. 9 years in eternity.
I'm going to let you go, Graham, because I need to carry on with some work. Let somebody else have a chance.
Okay, cool. If I'll put stereo back on, but I'll try and make it so that it's not, because when you went off, then it started playing someone else's stereo channel. I'm trying to get it to not do that. It's really irritating.
Right, yeah.
But we will get the technology fixed at some point in the future. Man, it shouldn't be this difficult. But thank you very much for calling. And I'll speak to you very soon. Okay.
All right, take care.
I get the ubr.fm site looking nice. I'll do that, and then we can chat. Have you sent me the email? Have you sent me the email with the graphics and things on it?
No, I'm gonna start do a load of stuff tonight on the
brilliant.
On the station. I'll send you that at the time.
Cool. Yes. Let's have a Zoom meeting while everyone's watching here on YouTube. Everyone's like, we don't care about you doing these things. Why are you talking about this? We're talking about Brexit. Okay, right. Back to Boris Johnson. All right. See you later, Lee. Bye. Bye. Oh, that was nice. So that was Lee. He's a Mancunian, but he's all right. Some of them all right. Was that all right? Was that all right with the sound? I mean, was it really distorted? Was it a bit crackly? Was it all right? I'm gonna bring up stereo again now. Don't call me just yet, because I'm just sort of getting it ready, and I want to go through some of the messages that people have left in here. Right now, if I just go through, that's it. Okay. Right. Where are we? How are you, mate? Says Chris to Darian. Darian, the campaign was far too negative. This is from Now 100. People don't know what benefits they were actually getting from the EU. Very true. Umka says, then there is a question. If a good portion of the nation is so blind they don't want to see reality, can you really change it? Umka, I don't think that you can, unless we have the same kind of national program that they had in Germany after the war, well, West Germany after the war, the denazification process, which meant that you weren't allowed to show any Nazi regalia, flags, anything like that. We'll need a national de-Brexification process, which I don't think is A, practical, or B, ever going to happen. So we just have to wait. But what we can do is still keep the pressure on, keep highlighting the damage that Brexit is doing, because we're no longer saying, oh no, don't leave because all these bad things will happen. Now we're just saying, look at this bad thing that's happened. Oh, well, that's terrible. Just leave people to draw their own conclusions. We don't have to do any more than that. But then also, at the same time, bigging up the EU. And the vaccine shenanigans have been very, very frustrating for a lot of us in the pro-European community, because the EU has provided half of all of the vaccines that have been administered in the UK. Meanwhile, 0% of the vaccines that have been administered in the EU were made in the UK. So we haven't exported a single drop of a single vaccine to the EU, or in fact any other country. I don't think, except we definitely don't have an export ban. We don't have an export ban, but we kind of have an export ban. And so the criticism that the EU's getting is both unfair, because basically we're taking vaccines off them and we're taking the vaccines off them and we're not responding in kind. But also this idea that we couldn't have done this if we were still part of the EU, when we were still part of the EU when we chose to go our own way with the vaccines. And countries around Europe at the moment are getting vaccines from wherever they can get them. But yeah, I mean, it is one of those things where the EU's become a victim of circumstance somewhat with the vaccine rollout. But the fact that has made the EU look bad in the views of people who read the Express, and also it has diminished the horror that 150,000 people have died in this country because of this incompetent government. So yeah, let's see Boris Johnson go down. Is anyone keeping an eye on the news? Has Boris Johnson released a statement yet or anything? I haven't seen anything up yet. Maybe I'll have a little look. Nick says, we've been told in work that we don't have to wear masks from the 4th of May, even though there's 14 of us in an office with no ventilation. What? Nick, what, why? Just bloody wear them. If you're inside, just wear the freaking masks. Just err on the side of caution. For God's sake, people are dying. Just, you know what? Why wear a safety belt? I've never been in a crash that I've needed a safety belt. So why should I wear a safety belt? You know, I mean, because you err on the side of caution, especially where people's lives are concerned. And having to wear a mask is not that big a infringement of your liberty. Not compared with, I don't know, having your freedom to go and live and work and retire and settle down and get married and build a house, build a business in 31 other countries taken away from you. That's having your freedom taken away, not having to wear a bit of cloth over your face so you don't give the deadliest plague in 100 years to your next door neighbour, your elderly next door neighbour who might not survive it. I've got a super chat first of the day. Thank you, Umka. Umka says, Graham. I'm always worried when people say Graham full stop. It means I'm in trouble. I'm going to told off now. Graham, for the last time. Graham, for many people, especially young ones, waiting means lost opportunities. In today's world, a few years of waiting can mean no prospect. Yeah, Omka, I completely agree with you. And if I could press a button and we could rejoin the EU right now, I would love to press that button. However, if I did press that button, this shit would never end. This absolute nonsense that we're living through at the moment would never end. And yeah, it's horrible. And I don't think the younger generation are ever going to forgive the parents and grandparents' generation, especially if they voted for Brexit, for what they've done and the lost opportunities, the narrowed horizons that Brexit has given. Brexit has given nothing but suffering. Nothing but suffering. Nothing but people making... have made a terrible decision and their lives have been negatively impacted by it. And there's vanishingly few people who have actually profited from Brexit. You know, just some multimillionaires. That's about it. Most of us aren't multimillionaires, sadly. Duke Vengeance, the one I'm most frustrated with is myself for not taking it seriously. I didn't think people were stupid enough to actually go for it, says Duke Vengeance. Yeah. Yeah, I feel the same way, mate. So, yeah, sorry. It's just... I don't know. I've always been a gobby Scouser. I've always been the one who'll say something. If someone said something that I deemed racist or anti-Semitic or homophobic, I'd always be the one who'd say something. But sometimes I didn't say anything. If there was a gang of people and there was going to be someone to say, "Oh, well, hang on, what do you mean? Did you honestly just say that?" What, you know, I'll probably be that person. But yeah, there were certain situations where you just kind of let it lie for an easy life, I guess, and you don't want to upset the apple cart, etc., etc. I don't know. I wasn't even here. I wasn't here for for the majority of the 7 years running up to the Brexit vote, I was not in this bloody country. So, I mean, I can't really blame myself too much for the way it turned out. But, oh my God, like, I never could have imagined Britain would be so stupid as to go for Brexit. But then on top of that, still think that after 150,000 freaking people are dead in a year, that Boris Johnson, the liar-in-chief, the guy who lied to his editor and when he was working for the newspapers and got sacked for it, the guy who lied to the Prime Minister and got sacked for it, the guy who lied to his wives, lied to his mistresses, lied to the public, put a big lie on the side of a freaking bus. This guy who saw us through a pandemic in which 150,000 people are dead is still charting the regions of 45% in the polls, which in the UK is a supermajority because of our stupid first past the post system. So I said this yesterday on Saturday when I saw that footage of those crowds, those maskless dickheads fighting against the police, kicking off against the police. It really was the point where I've got no faith left in this nation at all. I have faith in individuals who are all right, but as a country, this country is unviable. It is a ridiculous place. Don't ever go there. It's like Camelot in Monty Python. Sandy Reed, £5 super chat. Thank you. My wife rightly says super rich are not wealth creators, but instead or wealth takers. Yeah, they are, Sandy. You're absolutely right. They take the wealth from other people. I mean, you see this when the Prime Minister gives £120,000 of taxpayers' money to his bid on the side. Here you go. And takes her on trade missions. She's uniquely unqualified to go on there, except, he likes to... What was it? Put his crumpet in an oven or whatever the disgusting term he used. Carl Birchall says, I could kind of see it coming based on what people around me were saying. But even now, I know no matter of info available to me at the time, I wouldn't have changed a single mind. It's all emotional. Yeah. I believe that because when... Zaghari Radcliffe has been sentenced to another year in prison. She's been convicted of propaganda. She's got a 1-year ban from leaving Iran after being convicted of propaganda. That was 13 minutes ago on the BBC website. That's absolutely terrible news. Again, something that Boris Johnson, he saw a bad situation and then he made it worse. He made it worse by saying that she was doing some journalism thing when she wasn't. She was a teacher. And I think a lot of people in the UK, they have this thing of like global Britain on one hand. We're going to sell these things to, Côte d'Ivoire. And then on the other hand, they think Britain exists in a bottle. They think it exists in a vacuum to the rest of the world and nothing that we say and do has any effect on how the rest of the world see us. Because they're just as brainwashed as we are by watching, 633 Squadron and Dad's Army on repeat for eternity. They're not. Most people around the world don't know that much about Britain, don't know that much about England. In fact, go to America and ask them the difference between Britain and England. They will not know. They will not. I guarantee it. They will not know. Freckle Puny, £5 super chat. Woo! Boris Johnson really needs to be referred to as the lie minister. Yes. Yeah. Or the slime minister. Can we develop that, Freckle Puny? To the slime minister? I'm going to write that down. The slime minister. Sorry, I like it when we work on things together. The slime minister. I'm going to tweet that later, and then we'll think I'm really witty. Would you like a credit, Freckle Puny? Would you like credit to Freckle Puny? 50% of the royalties from Twitter will go to you from that tweet. So what have we got? I feel your pain, Kevin. Graham, as a fellow redhead, it's in our genes to be outspoken. I had an argument with the brother last night about what you said about UK hoarding vaccine. He denied it's happening. I think it's a Scouse thing as well, and I always remember someone saying to me, this is a very long time ago, it's probably when I was in university, they said they would rather hang out with someone who said something, even if it's a bit embarrassing. Like, British people will eat some shit food that's been given to them that's not hot and just tastes awful because they're too embarrassed to call the waiter over and say, I'm sorry, this isn't hot, or I'm sorry, this isn't cooked. And there's a part of me that goes, yeah, I can see how that comes across as obnoxious to a lot of people, and they would prefer not to do that. But then there's that other part of me that as someone said once, that the people who complain in restaurants, although they might be gobshites in other things, if they're not some kind of rabid, I said Brexiteer at the time, but some rabid right-wing person, if their politics is in the right place, they'll be the people who'll speak out when they start rounding up the Jews again, or whatever horrible thing government tries to do. It'll be the people who complain in restaurants, they'll be the people who make a fuss and say, hang on, this isn't right. That will actually make a fuss then as well in that situation. So yeah, I think that's what we need to do. We just need to make a fuss. We need to keep talking about it, and I don't think that putting up our hands and saying, oh dear, there's absolutely nothing we can do about this is probably the right way to go about it. But it's just so sad. It's just so sad that it's come to this, that we are now in a situation in which we have this Prime Minister who is a lying, thieving scumbag, a guy who cost the British taxpayer £43 million towards his £50 million invisible bridge across the Thames. Vanity project. Look at his other vanity projects. The broken helter-skelter thing outside the London Olympic Stadium that didn't need to be there. Yeah, millions of pounds spent on that piece of shit, and it's still there, and it was never used as a helter-skelter, I don't think. If it is, it makes about 10p a day. Great. He's not a businessman, put it that way. Neither is Nigel Farage. Not a businessman. Not an entrepreneur. In fact, I'll go so far as to say that Dyson and Tim Martin aren't really entrepreneurs. They're just rich people who spent money and got more money. I mean, yeah, I find it difficult to look at these people and go, yeah, they know what they're doing in business. It just usually is just a fortuitous accident more than anything else, or just the circumstances of their birth. But yeah, these chances, these gobshites who have ridden roughshod, not just over our democracy, but of all semblance of human decency. And they've just taken their flock with them. These people who just follow them mindlessly. And then it's the same lot, isn't it? It's the Brexiteers, the anti-maskers, the racists, the All Lives Matter people. They're all the same group. And it's like the crossover is immense. And this is why it's so disturbing when you meet a Lexiteer, when you meet someone on the left who thinks that the EU is the most evil thing since Evil Edna went out being evil. Oh, my light's gone off. Oh, dear. I had to pay the lecky bill. Yeah, and it's like when you meet a young person who thinks that racism is somehow acceptable. It's shocking. You're like, what? Why? What? Where are you coming from? Whereas if it's someone on the right or someone who's a bit older, tend to be a little bit more racist. Not everyone. Don't at me in the comments. At Graham Hughes. Graham, full stop. I'm not racist. I'm not saying everybody. But yeah, there is a tendency amongst older people to think that racism is okay. And also feel like they're somehow the victim in all this because they're not allowed to be racist anymore. I'm in these interesting conversations with people where we're like, seriously, this is the hill you want to die on? You want to whinge about the fact that you can't be racist anymore? Is that what? Have you got anything better to get on with in your life? I wish I could be horrible to black people. They won't let me anymore, bastards. Oh God, my heart bleeds for you. If only. It's just really weird. You can't say that anymore. They won't let you say that. Yeah, because it's horrible. Just. I always thought a good thing to do at a dinner table situation where someone comes out with something racist, just shout the C word really loud. And everyone stop. Knives go. This really works really well with people over the age of 60. But the knives are What did you just say? Well, you were being offensive, so I thought I'd be offensive too. I thought that's what we were supposed. That's what we were doing here. Oh no, but all I said was, yeah, that's a really offensive term that you just used. Really, really offensive. Probably less offensive than the one that I used. But you see, it doesn't offend you. It doesn't offend you to use that term. Whereas if I use my term, it offends you. Do you get it? Oh, but they use that word to describe themselves. I said, yeah, I tell Scouse jokes. I tell Scouse jokes, but if someone else tells a Scouse joke, I'll get me back up. How dare you tell a joke about me, my people, or Scousers? If I make a joke about my family, that's fine. It's my freaking family. If you make a joke about my family, it depends who you're making a joke about, I guess. But if you make a joke about my family, you might incur my wrath. Because it's not your place. It's not your place. And so that doesn't seem complicated to me. But apparently it's quite complicated to a lot of other people. But you know, I often talk about toxic nostalgia. In fact, this TV show, we're not on TV. This YouTube show kind of incorporates toxic nostalgia. I think that we can use the whole sort of toxic, well, not toxic nostalgia, but the nostalgia with the generation between the ages of sort of the people coming online to vote, so the people who are sort of teenagers now, up to the age of probably about 49, 50, we can start going, oh, do you remember when we were part of the EU? Oh, do you remember when we could just do that? Oh, do you remember we could just... Do you remember like the member berries from South Park? Remember. We can start doing that now. Because things were better when we were part of the EU. And so we can go, oh, do you remember that? And because it's kind of like intangible, you can't change the past. You can't go back and muck it up, really. You can tell different versions of it, different narratives, whatever. But if we keep that narrative of things were great when we were part of the EU, and then all these stupid old bastards came along and ruined it for everybody, like Farage and Johnson and Gove and all that, that's a powerful message to send. And then we can just sort of do the whole thing of wallowing in the nostalgia that was our youth, rather than the youth of older people who say, I used to sit at home and it was great. There was only 3 channels on the television and there was raisins in the curry and everything was brown and orange and stank of tobacco. Tobacco smoke. It was great. Loved those days. No different than Trump supporters. That's very true. Ooh, mood lighting, says John Barleycunt. Yeah, I know. It's my main camera light's gone off. It's because I was in meetings all morning. I was using this setup, so... The problem, says Umka, is that good people were saying, but they were not given the representation in the media. Another problem, Umka, is that the face of the Remain movement in 2016 was David Pig Effer Cameron. God damn it. This guy walked straight out of a Black Mirror episode and became Prime Minister of the nation. Jesus. Ay. Ugh. Ernie Burns says, that was down to years of newspaper propaganda and politicians blaming the EU for their own failings and taking credit for the good, and racist xenophobia. Of course. That goes without saying. Kevin Hegarty says, I sent him an article from the Irish Times and he ended up trying to poke holes in it, and I sent him a Phillips video about it. No idea if he's watched it. Deep breaths, Kev, lol. I don't know what you were talking about there, so I'm sorry for reading like the end of a conversation. His ex is, oh my God, he slimed me. Oh, come on. Oh God, I think a bit came up then. Jesus. Okay, can we not do that one? Can we not do that? Gross ignorance is a serious issue in the USA as well. Yes. Education. Global Britain is a slogan that obscures the obvious reality. Hard Brexit Britain means parochial. Said that wrong, didn't I? Parochial hermit Britain, not global at all. Yes. Yeah, the idea that we're better, we don't need anyone but ourselves, which is nonsense. Of course we do. Head to the Ministry of Truth, says Context, yeah. I see what you've done there. Perkel and Tory says, the restaurant complaining thing is the exact same here in Finland. We don't rebel either. We grumble if a boss compliments us. We'll do anything. Yeah. We do need more people to speak up. And also talk about stuff. We have a thing in Britain where you're not supposed to talk about religion or politics or money. And I'm like, why? Well, why not? Well, because people fall out about it. So, well, if you don't talk about it, then you just become more entrenched in your own position. Unless you've actually challenged. And I have no problem with taking on Brexiteers. And I've been on TV and stuff and gone up against Brexiteers before. I've got no problem with it. My only problem with taking on Brexiteers is they always come out with the same stupid arguments again and again and again, and they act like for them they're like, I'm going to get him on the ropes with this argument that he would never have heard before. But yeah, it's just the same thing going round and round again. But I was very rarely asked to ever take part in a forum where I was actually arguing against Brexiteers. It was usually I was invited to be on a platform with fellow Remainers or politicians or whoever. It was very rare for me to actually be in a situation where I was sort of put up against a Brexiteer where we've got an audience and I can say, well, hang on, what about this? And I do feel like there was a invisible hand in that of the fact that the BBC didn't want to touch Brexit with a barge pole. They didn't want to have those Brexit debates. And so much so that when I was on the BBC a few years ago talking about something else, talking about travel, and they actually specifically told me not to mention Brexit. And I was like, okay. And there was another time I was on BBC Radio in Merseyside, and I was chatting about my travels around Europe, and I did mention Brexit, and the presenter just changed the subject like instantly. No, we're not going down that road. And I think that's partly cultural, but partly political. Like, people, obviously, these news outlets have been told toe the party line, especially the fact that 63% of all of our media is owned by three people. 3 foreign living billionaires own 63% of our media. All of whom are Brexiteers, all of whom are tax avoiders, all of which are scumbags who should be in jail, along with our Prime Minister, who should definitely be in jail, along with the President of the United States, who should utterly be in jail for a list of crimes that is just insane. Like, the number of crimes that Donald Trump has carried out, how they haven't arrested him by now is beyond me. What he's still doing in America right now is beyond me. If I was him, I would be going to a country that doesn't have an extradition treaty and living out the rest of my life in a bloody castle because he's, 74 years old? He's not got long on this earth, all right? I'll just live out my life on a freaking beach. What's wrong with these people? Go and find a beach. Go and find a deserted beach, sit on the beach, read a book, write a book. I don't give a fuck. Just don't do any... I don't give a frig. Don't spend the last few years of your life on this earth making life more difficult for poor people. But unfortunately, that's what a lot of politicians, their MO is. Damien De Star, he has just hit the caps lock button in order to say, hit the like button before you go, peeps. Give an algorithm a fruity tingle. Yes. Give it a reach around. If you would like to tickle the like button, I would be very appreciative. Give it a like or a dislike, up to you. I'd rather you give it a like, I guess. But also, €5. Woo! It's Monday. Have something on me. It's going to be a long week. I'm off. Thanks, Euros. So that's a €5 super chat there. Brilliant. I'm gonna stay on. I'm gonna stay on for a little bit. I don't have to pick up the kids today. So. If you want me to, do you know what? If you want me to piss off, just write "piss off, Graham" in the comments. That's absolutely fine. But I thought I'd stay on for a bit. Graham, ABBA play at the Eurofest. If ABBA wanted to play at my Eurofest, I would do anything. That would be amazing. That would be so good. As long as they don't play that song about kissing the teacher. I never heard that before, but it came on because Catherine was playing ABBA songs yesterday, and it came on. I was like, what the hell is this? It was bloody awful. And apparently it's in Mamma Mia too. I Kissed the Teacher. An ABBA song, is it a freaking B-side or something? Jesus Christ, don't tell me that was a single. That was bloody awful. I mean, it kind of it kind of undoes all the good work that ABBA had done up to that point, I suppose. But, Trump to Ginger Island 1 month, 1 million month rent. What? 1 meter? I don't get it. Freckle Beauty says, Global Britain used today to describe the HMS carrier, Her Majesty's carrier, the aircraft carrier HMS Queen Elizabeth sailing to the Far East with 16 fighters aboard, 10 of which are American. Alexis G, super chat, woo, and an EU flag, thank you. Global Britain equals global bag Britain. Yeah. Global Britain is it's kind of an oxymoron at the moment. Britain is becoming very isolated in the world. It's isolating itself through its own stupidity and arrogance, two things that the UK seems to have in unfortunate large supply at the moment, which is a bit poo. Ernie Burns writes former president in capital letters. Yes, Ernie, former president it is. Oh, we're getting a phone call from Henk. Right, let's see if this works, folks. Let's see if this works. Oh no, call ended. Henk, call back. I didn't press the button. I was literally about to. Oh, he's calling back. Okay, so, hello, Hank. I just pressed the button. I was literally. Hello.
Can you hear me, Graham?
Yeah, I could hear myself then. That was really weird. There was an echo. Echo. How you doing, Hank? You might want to turn me down in the background because I'm just hearing myself.
Is this better?
Yeah, that's better. How you doing? Can you hear me through stereo?
I'm doing
cool.
Excellent.
Where are you? Whereabouts are you?
Well, I'm following the Brexit from 2016.
Yeah.
And I am stunned and still I can't believe Britain had such a stupid move.
Well, that's putting it mildly. Where are you, Hank? Where are you in the world?
I'm in the Netherlands.
Oh, you lucky bastard. Can we swap? Do you want to come to Durham?
I told you if you want to come to the Netherlands and live in the Netherlands, my sister wants to marry you.
Excellent. Is she hot? I hope Catherine isn't watching this. I'm in so much trouble. Well, she's my sister.
I can't say this. But Graham, I got a suggestion for you.
Okay, go on.
Often we hear from Remainers, politicians, etc. You're always talking about economics, politics, and money.
Yeah.
But what about the citizens like me? Why do we like to live in the EU? Maybe we can help you with the rejoin campaign by telling, as a EU citizens, why it is excellent to live in the EU. We benefit from it every single day, Graham.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, that's a good point because you can sort of make that argument, can't you? Saying this is why it's good, this is why it's great, and that'll be a positive argument. So yeah, that's good. I'm trying to see how you're coming across. Can everyone hear Hank okay on the? Let me know in the chat. I've got Chris saying can't hear him very well. Has it got better? I've upped the gain. This is where I need to have a separate engineer. So whereabouts in the Netherlands are you, Hank?
I'm in the eastern part of the Netherlands, close to the German border.
Yeah.
And well, there is no border anymore, of course.
No, so not really.
No. And we got friends in Germany. I got friends in Spain. I got friends everywhere, Graham. I lived in every of the 27 EU countries.
Yeah.
For a while, just to go there, get to know the culture, everything that's in those countries. I even lived for a while in England.
Cool.
So but the biggest benefit we got is, of course, the peace.
The what?
You know, we love the biggest benefit that the EU citizens got is we are living in completely peace.
Oh, the peace. Yeah, I thought you said the police. I was like, what? The police have got to do with this?
No,
but
no.
yeah, that's what there was a guy who interviewed me for the Le Monde newspaper in France, and he asked me what I thought, what British people thought the EU meant in one word, and I said, well, you know, for me it means freedom, but for other British people it's sort of like a trade thing, so they'll probably say trade, and he said that's very interesting. For me, the EU means peace, and I thought as a French person, I got that, you know, that idea, but I think Britain's never been taken down a peg or two, has it? It's never lost a big conflict recently. Well, I suppose it got taken down a peg or two with the Suez crisis, but yeah, it I think it's got a bit. Its head has got a little bit big, and it thinks it doesn't need its friends. It thinks it doesn't need its allies, and you couldn't be more wrong, especially in this incredibly interconnected world in which we live at the moment.
Yes. Well, I think the biggest problem for Britain regarding the EU is, of course, the decline of the British Empire. And, of course, you know, once Britain was one of the biggest empires on the planet. So I guess the culture was we are great and we are still great. Well, Graham, I'm sorry to say, but you're not. Britain is not longer the great empire anymore. It's not even a great country. It's just a 65 million people country.
Yeah.
But I'm totally disgusted with your government. It's really, you know, I'm not even British and I'm getting angry. It's just disgusting.
Yeah, I mean, you're not alone in that. We're sick of it, and there's a horrible feeling of resignation that we're stuck with these Muppets for the foreseeable. And I want that for me is I mean, it's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking that there's going to be, as I think it was Umko who pointed out, the fact that the kids who are around today, who are sort of growing up, who, you know, becoming adults, that they're going to see their horizons severely curtailed by Brexit, by this government, and they're going to get nothing. They're going to get absolutely no positive things out of this at all, and it will affect the rest of their lives.
Yeah, that's true. But on the other hand, don't give up, Graham. Look,
I know, I'm not going to give up.
Like I said, maybe we should create a channel on YouTube where EU citizens tell their story.
Yeah.
And maybe we can help you with a rejoin campaign.
That'd be really great.
I don't think it's only about it's not only about the British people. I think, you know, it's about being European.
Yeah. Yeah, good idea. I've written it down.
My suggestion to you, if you want, I would love to help you with it. Yeah.
Well, one of the things that I want to do at the moment, Henk, and I'm trying to get put together, is just I need to set aside some time to making a wiki page, and there was, if I can get the model done, then I can do a few different wiki pages. But one of them that I really want to do is called europeworks.uk, and it'll be a page about what you're talking about. So it'll be just like good EU news stories. So it's like all the great stuff that the EU does, and list, you know, link in with all the policies and things like that, but then also have the human side of the story where it can say, you know, this particular policy has benefited X many Europeans, including, and then you have a link to someone's name. So it might say Henk, and you link to Henk, and then it brings up a video that says, hi, my name is Henk, and this is what the EU did for me in this regard. And you could do that for all the different policies that the EU has brought in. And you could also do it not just for people in the EU, but from people around the world who have benefited from the EU, not just direct funding or direct aid, but also producers around the world who are able to sell to the EU. And obviously, with the anything but arms deals that we have with countries in Africa and other countries around the world, that makes a big difference as well. So I think having that all in one place would be really cool. But it's too much work for one person to put together. So I'd like to set up the apparatus so that people can log in and therefore fill up the wiki themselves with the information.
Yeah, well, I can also, of course, talk about the benefits of the Netherlands, for instance. We are now the 17th biggest economy in the world. Doesn't sound much, but we have only 70.5 million people here.
Yeah.
So we're doing excellent. And our biggest traders partners are Germany, and France. And of course, most of our trade is inside the EU.
Yeah. So,
yeah.
No, that's really good. And also, I mean, I read the other day that Amsterdam has overtaken London as the share trade capital of Europe.
Yeah, but I don't think it really has a big impact on our economy as positive, Graham. Yeah. It's just, trade. But I rather talk about just the impact that the EU has on, if I look at the Netherlands, where we are and where we started, it's just, it's a good country to live. And for instance, we had a lot of people who went to the hospital because they got COVID. So we had a problem. And then Germany said, okay, bring some of those patients to us. So Germany helped us by getting COVID patients in their hospitals. And Germany does it with several countries in Europe. And I think that's one of the amazing benefits of being part of the EU. You just become friends. And, when you can, you will help. And as with the money, we got every country like the Netherlands pays a lot into the EU for a recovery fund. And in the last elections of the Netherlands, we had 81% of the Dutch people voted, and about 82% of those people are positive and want to stay inside the EU, because we see how when you work together closely, and you become friends, it benefits everybody. It doesn't mean that there is no poverty. Of course there is. But if I look at Poland, if you look now and compared to about 30 years ago, Poland is slowly becoming this excellent economic standards just because we support each other, Graham. And I think, Britain needs to come back into the EU, but it's not going to be the special position anymore. They, just be who you are. Look, who cares if you are the greatest? Just be as a country what you are. You're great enough.
Yeah, that's very true. That's very true. I got some comments coming through here. We got Carl saying how it affects the individual, not some big picture thing most people can't comprehend, and saying that you get it. Yeah, and you do. I mean, that's very true. I mean, I've spoken before about how charities found that it was better, rather than say give a statistic, a horrifying statistic like 1 million children die every year of diarrhea, you're best showing a single child on the advert and saying the name of the child and saying we need your support to help this child and many like them who are suffering from easily preventable diseases like diarrhea. So yeah, that's something that I think would really strike a chord with people. And I think that the whole sort of thing I was talking about earlier with Lee about the process of rejoining the EU, it's got to be not just economic. It's got to be not just political. It's got to be cultural. We've got to get enough people in this country to realise that they're European. They are European. And our neighbours across the water are our friends and our allies. And we work better when we work together.
Well, if I jump in Calais in the channel in about 35, maybe an hour swimming, I'm in Britain. That's I really don't understand why people, it's always about sovereignty. What sovereignty?
Yeah.
There is no sovereignty. That's just a myth. That's part of the old thinking, We're living in a brand new world. Even in Africa, they got now the African Union. It's built on the principles of the EU. Everywhere people are starting. This is fantastic, Graham. People finally starting to learn to live together. And it doesn't matter who you are, where you come from. It doesn't matter. If we cut our skin, everybody got red blood.
Yes, indeed.
And we got huge problems. We got huge problems on the planet, and there's only one way to solve it. It's
together.
Putting all the resources together and, go for it. Because I think in the end, we can have a wonderful planet, and it doesn't really matter where you live.
Yeah.
Just work together. And as far as the youngsters in England, learn them about the European cultures and everything. That's the start.
Yeah.
I'm sure, Graham, I lived for a few years in London, and I met fantastic people. Nobody was talking about the EU or whatever. We were just working hard,
Yeah.
Had a crappy house, but we worked every day. And, all kinds of cultures came together. There was no fight. There was nothing. It was just us earning some money and live in one of the greatest places on the planet,
Yeah.
And I would love to see. That people come to the Netherlands or to Germany and just build up their life the way they want.
Yeah, without having to ask permission. I mean, that's the thing. It's like, because the moment you add obstacles like that, the filling out forms, the $5,000 you got to have in your bank account, depending on which country you're trying to get into to live, you instantly cut out a huge number of people, millions of people's potential to go and live and work in that country, because most people can't afford that. Most people never afford it. And so there's people in this country who cannot afford to marry someone who is from another country if they want to live with them.
No, but, these kinds of old politics are always there to divide and conquer.
Yeah.
And so they divide everybody. They tell to the British people, your government, we are the best. When I listen to Boris or something, it's always about world beating this. We are the world leaders, etc. I'm thinking, are you
embarrassed?
Well, it's just, everybody is laughing. It's like, come on, start to learn talking,
Yeah.
And if you are a prime minister of your country, you need to place laws that everybody benefits from it, not just a few. But everybody, people, we saw that children got hungry. Now, there was a football player who kicked Boris' ass to finally got children get food. What the fuck? You're one of the most developed countries on the planet, and you still got children getting hungry?
Yeah, we had a 100-year-old man pacing up and down his garden to raise money for the National Health Service, which should be paid for out of taxpayers' money. But he's raising money for the National Health Service. The National Health Service is a bloody charity, which it should never be.
But Graham, I saw this man because he was huge here on the news too. We all just love him. He died recently, but what an amazing man.
Yeah. And he got it. I mean, he was doing that to help other people. He knew he wasn't going to be long on this for this world. And he thought, how can I help? What can I do to help? And we need more people like him and to think like him and to behave like him. So he's like one of the best role models this country's had, probably in quite a long time, considering the people who, isn't it mad now that the people who we should be looking to for guidance in sort of morality and how to conduct ourselves, it's more on the lines of like footballers rather than the actual people in charge of the country. That just boggles my mind.
Me too. You basically need a nice revolution over there.
Yeah, but I don't think we've got the weather for it. If it's a bit wet on Revolution Day, no one's coming out.
Yeah, but I don't understand why people still supporting the Tories. But to be honest, if I look at the Labour Party, they're useless too.
Yeah.
So maybe it's time for a new party.
The problem with that is we live in a first past the post system, which basically, unless you're one of the two big parties, you're never going to get power. The only way that we're going to get power really is we need to all take over the Labour Party. Everyone who wants to rejoin the EU needs to take over the Labour Party and make it the party of rejoining the EU. But trying to convince people to do that is not the easiest thing. But I'm a member of the Labour Party. Phil Morehouse is as well. So is Bowler Hatman. I mean, we'd love it. We'd love it if we got a say. But the fact that the Labour Party are specifically not targeting Brexit as a Achilles heel of the Conservative Party, just to as a stick to bash them with, I don't get it. I don't get why aren't they using whatever whatever weapons they can find, metaphorical weapons. Why aren't they using it to the max? And it's just that's kind of, I don't know. It's kind of freaking me out at the moment, Hank. I've got no idea why they just don't do it.
But why don't you do it as in the Netherlands? We got now 17 parties in parliament, including one party for the animals.
Yeah.
And usually we got about 3 or 4 parties in the government. So that will mean a right-wing party, 2 middle parties, or a Christian party and a left-wing party, and they start to talk. It takes a while, probably 8-9 months, but then you got a government of compromising, which there are from all sides. There are stuff that they're gonna do. So it's not only the right-wing ideas, but also the left-wing, the middle parties, etc. And yeah. That way you got the people have a bigger voice in parliament.
Well, we've got context here saying, number 1, take over Labour. Number 2, win elections. Number 3, change election system. Yes, that's all I can say to context. Yes, I think that a mass takeover of Labour by the Remain movement or the Rejoin movement is absolutely necessary. And in the same way that in the Tory party, they've got the ERG, we need to have a European Rejoin group. We could call it the ERG, and basically make sure that we've got the supporters, the members, and also some MPs who are on our side to join that group and basically make our voices heard to the highest levels. Because at the moment, there just doesn't seem to be any movement on that particular pressure point in the government, and considering it is destroying people's livelihoods right now. I mean, this isn't going to happen in the future, maybe. This is happening now. Why Labour aren't highlighting this is just beyond me.
Well, maybe if I look at the time when Corbyn was the leader of Labour, he was really a Brexiteer. He didn't want to stay inside the EU. So I don't think Labour, and it has to do with, I'm left, I'm a left wing, and those corporate bastards from the EU. It's all about capitalism. Those ideas, but that's not true. Yes, sure. Yeah. The EU is also about business, about
well, it's about trade, money. But also it's about trade brings with it peace.
Graham. Well, you have to look at this now. If you look at the EU Parliament, there are 27 countries in this EU Parliament. It's just, I'm not religious, but it's almost a miracle that 27 different cultures, different ideas, different ways of life working together.
Yeah.
That's amazing, An Italian will talk with somebody from Poland, somebody from Malta will talk with somebody from, I don't know, Luxembourg. Everybody is talking. And, when you look at the parliament, and sometimes you think there are really some nutcases there. But, in the end, it's very hard to work together, but they do it. And, that tells you a lot about how we Europeans are. And, sometimes I'm thinking, maybe the EU needs a bit more self-confidence.
Yes.
It's sometimes a bit, it's sometimes hesitating, it's bending, it's bowing. It's like, why?
Yeah.
Everybody is looking at the EU at the moment. It's an incredible, stable situation. Look around the world, everywhere there's hunger, poverty, etc. And here, it's like you're living on an island.
Well, the argument that I always made, Hank, when I was talking to left-wing Brexiteers like the Corbyn types, I'd say to them, which countries in the world do you want to be more like? And give me specific policies that you like. And they'll say, oh, well, I like the fact that Germany took in 1 million refugees. Oh, I like the fact that Portugal decriminalized heroin, so people who are addicted to heroin aren't being put in jail and they're getting the support they need. Oh, I like the education system in Finland. Oh, I like the fact that marijuana is decriminalized in Amsterdam. And you're like, okay, so all of the examples that you've just given me of things around the world of countries that you like, they're all in the EU. They're all literally in the EU. This capitalist club of some of the most socialist countries in the freaking world. And it's just, yeah.
Well, Graham, I as I always said, we are the lucky ones who are living inside the EU. And, as far as the Dutch people go, we will not, sometimes you hear from a Brexiteers, well, what about Nexit? It's not going to happen, Graham. We are not stupid. Come on. We want.
Are you saying we're stupid, Hank? Are you saying we're stupid?
No,
if that's what you're saying,
not you, but
then I agree with you.
But some Brexiteers like Muppet Taylor on YouTube, they are really stupid.
We're the first country in the world to have 52% of the population to be of below average intelligence. It's quite good. I don't know how that works statistically, but we did it. But yeah.
Wow.
Adrian just said in the comments, sorry, Hank. Adrian said, Hank is reminding me that the 1688 Glorious Revolution in England was basically an invited invasion by a Dutchman. So did you fancy coming over here and being our king? King Henk the First.
Wow. Graham, we had a Dutch king on your throne there, It didn't work out very good for Britain.
Well,
but talking about stupid people, when you go to one of those coffee shops in the Netherlands, the green stuff, and you see some Dutch, damn, they're stupid too, Graham. But anyway, Graham, I hope I can help you with some interesting videos about the EU.
Yeah, that'd be great.
When everything is, and the other thing is, Graham, once everything is settled down with the COVID, Why don't you come to the Netherlands or to Europe, to every European country, and make a 3-man in a pub with some? And if you come to the Netherlands, you don't have to look for a place to sleep. I will take care of that. You get a nice beer from me, and etc. And we're gonna have some fun.
I will. One of the things with the Three Blokes in the Pub from the start, we managed to raise quite a bit of money to do what we were doing using the crowdfunder, and that allowed us to go to Switzerland, to go to the WTO, and go to Gibraltar, and go to Northern Ireland. But honestly, the money just doesn't last very long, especially if you're not working. So it was the kind of thing where I just wish that one of the political parties in the UK, like Labour or the Greens or the Lib Dems, would spend a bit of money, not lots, not oodles, but a bit of money on supporting people like Max or people like Phil who are doing this stuff online for basically at the moment for very little, just to make sure that they've got some security in their income. Because if I'm ill tomorrow and I have to take a month off doing this, that's it. My income just stops. I don't get anything. I don't get any sick pay or anything like that. So if we can sort something out.
But Graham, listen, I just told you, if you come to the Netherlands, you only need a ticket. I will have a nice place to sleep.
Yeah, don't worry about that.
You got your food, everything for free. You only need to get your equipment to the Netherlands.
Ah, cool. It's a little tiny camera. It's only like this big. My backpack.
Well, we will figure those things out. It's not a problem.
Well, should we have a chat in the? Are you on the Discord server? Have you ventured onto the Discord yet?
No, but I could download the Discord server. Can I download it on the computer, or do I have to download it on?
You can download it on a computer. You can download it on the phone. You can have it as a browser. You can have it as a tab on a browser. So basically, that should. I'll just. What I'm going to do is I hope I'm on the right. Rejoin EU. Yeah, I am. So I'm just going to give the invite link. I normally do this towards the end of the show, but we've got 20 minutes left. Okay. But if you want to join us on the chat afterwards at 3:00, I'm going to just make the link and I'm going to put that into the message now. So, if you would join us on the rejoin Discord server after the show, that would be brilliant. We'll have a chat about that because I'll definitely be up for going over to Netherlands. I want to go to every country in Europe in 3 weeks again on public transport to actually get the Guinness World Record this time. I was waiting until COVID was over.
You can easily go with train. I know you like to go without planes. I often went to London with the Eurostar. Yeah. But I would love to help you somehow, to because we want the British back inside the EU. You belong to us, you're a freaking family.
Oh, thank you.
That's all I can say about it.
I couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree more.
And to everybody in the chat, you all rock and keep it going.
Oh, thanks, Hank. Legend. You all rock. Okay. I'll speak to you in a bit. Adios. Bye-bye.
Yes, okay. All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, cool. So that was Hank from the Netherlands. So I've just got to fanny around with my phone for a moment. Just hang on a sec. I don't want you having to listen to. Oh, I'll just leave it. Forget it. You can't hear it anyway. Okay, so let me know in the chat if the sound level was all right there. I was messing around with it as Hank was talking. You probably saw me do that. I can't hide anything from you. It feels like you're watching me all the time. But yeah, if you want to get me on stereo, it is at Graham Hughes. So if you look up at Graham Hughes, you should find me eventually. And then if you send me an invite, I will befriend you, and then you can call me when you like. Yay, Hank. We love you, Hank. Hank sounds like a legend. He does indeed. Sound was okay. We're getting some sound was okay. Okay. Was there any clipping? Was there any kind of, because when I was listening to my headphones, I could hear like crackling a little bit on the audio. 95 Winston shouting from the back, "It was fine, Graham." Okay, 95 Winston. Henk is one cool dude. Oh, a lot of love coming in for Henk right now, which is really cool. So this is what I want the show to be more like. I want it to be more of a dialogue than a monologue. So if anyone wants to call me for the end of the show, hurry up, because we've only got 17 minutes left. Graham, come to Malaga too. Yes, I'll come to Malaga. I want to go back to Granada. I want to go back to Granada because I haven't been there for ages, and the Alhambra Palace is just absolutely beautiful. And I would like to go back there. Also, tapas. Yeah, you get tapas in Granada, which I always love. I don't think you get a beer and you get a bit of food with your beer. It makes sense, doesn't it? Because then your alcohol isn't poisoning you as much. I don't know how it works. Anyway, you can start it from browser. Yes, Hank is brilliant. We got Adrian Wilson saying Hank could be the leader of the new movement to save Britain, Glorious Revolution 2. That's a really good name. Let's call it Glorious Revolution 2. Because let's face it, the first Glorious Revolution wasn't a real revolution. It was like a funny little revolution that wasn't really a revolution. So let's do that. Let's call it the Glorious Revolution 2. So I've made a note of that. John Barleycorn says, in the 70s. Should we do this? In the 70s. We had Englishmen, Irishmen, Scotsmen jokes, in which the Irishman was always made out to be stupid. Well, post-Fordorendum, who's stupid now? The English were really stupid. Perhaps even more the Welsh. Who is the more foolish, the fool or the fool who follows him? So the Welsh are the fools that followed the English to Brexit oblivion. Oh, it's going to be great. We're going to have no money and no freedom and no power. Yay. Anyway, so moving on to the things. Shame they don't do studio tours anymore, says Lee. Lee? What? You want to do a studio? Oh, what studio tour? What are you talking about? Tim Ballum says the EU are our family. The US is the uncle that you didn't want to spend time alone with. And Australia, that grand smell to cabbage, and I questionable religious beliefs. That's a bit harsh on Australia. A lot of Australians are really lovely. Just some of the other ones are not so great. Beautiful palace, you're right, Graham. There's a hillside that you can look down at the Alhambra, and the last ruler of the Alhambra was a guy called Bobadil, and the bluff that looks out over the palace is called the Moor's Last Sigh, or the Los Últimos. I hope I get this. The Los Últimos Suspiro del Moro, which means the last sigh of the Moor, because it was where he looked down at his palace for the last time in 1492, when he was driven out of his country by Queen Isabella and King Ferdinand of Aragon and Castile, who then sent the mad Italian Christopher Columbus, or Cristobal Colon, as he's known in Panama, over to the West Indies to, ruin everything for everyone who lived there. Worked in Germany. This is from Ula Kadluga. Worked in Germany, where I was eligible to 90% of my last salary if I'm unemployed. Took a job in the UK to take care for my parents. When I had to full-time care, I received nothing because of having savings. Yeah. Well, when I came back from Panama to look after my dad, this is back in 2017, I came back to look after my dad because he's had, he still does, he has vascular dementia. And I applied for carer's allowance, and you got to understand, like, carer's allowance is bugger all. It's like £76 a week. It's really not much, but every little helps, right? And all my life, although I never earned that much, I've always paid tax. I've always, paid out for VAT and paid anything for the companies that I had to pay out or whatever. But I've never had a problem with it. I've never been one of these people going, oh, taxes, theft, taxes, blah, blah, blah. Because I always thought that when the ships were down, the system would be there for me, right? And I don't have a problem if I'm not working, of claiming dole. I don't have sort of like, oh my God, my pride. But at the moment I don't, because obviously I'm doing this and other things. But yeah, so I applied for it, and they wanted to know how long I had spent out of the UK before I came home to look after my dad. And because I had spent more time in the previous 3 years out of the UK, not necessarily working in another country or living in another country, just out of the UK, than I had spent in it, I was ineligible for any kind of carer's allowance. Now, the carer's allowance isn't for the person who you're caring for. It's for you to go and buy, what can you buy for £76? You can buy, food for the week for the family. That's about £76. So yeah, it can make a really big difference to people's lives. And I was turned down for it because I spent too much time out the country. So if again, this feeds into this whole Tory thing of they just don't want you going anywhere. They don't want you marrying a foreigner. They don't want you falling in love with a foreigner. They don't want you starting a family with anyone else. They don't want you going anywhere. They don't want you settling down anywhere else, because if you come back, you're going to be penalised. If you live in Europe for 15 years, you lose your right to vote in the UK. Even though you're still a UK citizen, you lose your right to vote. If you have a partner who is from another country, you have to be earning at least £18,600 a year in order for that partner to live in the country with you, even if you have children together. And now they've made it so that if you've married to an EU citizen, they have to apply for settled status within the next 2 months, or they might be deported from this country that they could have credibly lived in for 50 years. They'll be deported because they don't want you going out the village. The idea of global Britain as a real thing that the Tories are behind is an absolute joke. It's a sick joke. They don't want you going anywhere. Take it from the guy who's been everywhere, okay? The Tories don't want you going anywhere. That's why they do what they do. It's all part of the same agenda. And it makes me sick, unfortunately. Granada, says Lee Corn. Yay. Context, the English in Wales were the problem, though. Haha, tapas too. Yeah, I love the tapas. They have tapas, and they also have the shisha pipes. I don't smoke shisha pipes. I don't smoke anything, but other people do, and they enjoy it, so that's cool. I always wanted to start a shisha bar in the UK. This is before shisha bars were a thing. This is back in the 2000s, after I've been traveling around the Middle East in 1999. I was like, why do they have shisha bars in the UK? Especially when the cigarette ban came in, quite rightly. You could sit outside in the summer with some hubbly bubbly and sit outside. And I wanted to do a Granada theme bar, so you could have like you could have tapas in the bar. You have hubbly bubbly, and also because the Moorish theme, and you can decorate it beautifully. You could decorate it really, really nice with these motifs from the Alhambra. But do you know, I'm full of ideas, and I wish the level of ideas to funding was somewhere comparable. But it's like, ideas here, funding here. What are you gonna do? Duke Venger says, I was refused carer's allowance because apparently my parents had to be receiving a certain type of benefit for me to get it. Yeah, this is like, it's so cruel. They make you jump through hoops to get this allowance that should just be yours. It should automatically happen, but you have to beg for it, and they have to make you feel like a twat for asking. How dare you? How dare you? Don't you know that Britain's suffering right now? Back in 2017, but we're still part of the EU and we're still fifth biggest economy in the world. But, we're suffering right now. Looking in the purse, oh, I don't know. We have spent a lot of money on Boris Johnson's invisible freaking bridge. Oh, and his Helter Skelter thing. Oh, yeah, and also the other one that I missed out. That bloody skyline? The stupid cable car thing going across the water in down by Canary Wharf. Actually, no, it's further than that. It's Greenwich, isn't it? It's down by the Millennium Dome. Yeah, the Emirates airline, do they call it? That's never made any money. And it will never, ever make any money, except there's like a tourist thing for some tourists who are very, very lost to go on. We went on it a couple of years ago with Catherine and the kids, and there was no one else there. It was an absolute freaking joke. And that was during, in the summer holidays on a really hot sunny afternoon, nobody there, completely empty. And I'm like, yeah, Boris Johnson, businessman to the stars. Jim Bob Robot, Discord link never seems to let me through for some reason, and I have the phone app. Oh God, sorry, man. Is Glasgow Kiss there? Glasgow, come to our rescue. The link's not working. Jesus. I don't know. Uli Kadluga says, I eventually got £28 a month carers allowance. £28 a month. Jesus Christ. In Germany, I would have 2,800 a month. Oh, it's just disgraceful, isn't it? So I've got to plug my phone in because it's running out of batteries here. Do you know one thing that you probably haven't really thought of much this year because you've all been stuck inside is, do you remember when you had to worry about your phone running out of batteries because you were out? You had to get like a little power block just in case. I've not used my power block in ages. Adrian Wilson says, there's a strong strand on the right that view travel, especially working abroad, as somehow defective human behaviour, disabling the natural order. Adrian, that doesn't surprise me. When I told someone who I was working with that I was going to travel around India, it's back in 2001, I think. I said, where are you going? I'm going to India. How long are you going for? I'm going for a couple of months. Who are you going with? No one. I'm just going on my own. Travel, backpack. But Graham, you'll die. And I'm like, what? You'll die. What are you talking about, you crazy fool? I said, look, thousands of people go to India every year on holiday and they don't die. What do you want me to say? I mean, if I had that attitude, I wouldn't have gone anywhere. But yeah, that attitude seems very prevalent around. You must be crazy to go these places. It's strange because actually the same sort of attitude I encountered when I was traveling through West Africa. I had these hilarious conversations with people who were like, lovely people, really like happy that I'm there, and we're having a chat, and we're having a drink, and they go, well, seriously though, Graham, and I'm like, what? And they go, what are you doing? And I'm like, well, I'm traveling to every country in the world, and I'm trying to go to every country in the world without flying, and this is my 93rd country, and I'm plowing through Africa. But if you've got the money, why don't you buy yourself a nice TV? And I could see like, yeah, okay, hashtag priorities. I just didn't think having a big TV was a really impressive thing that I needed in my life at that time. But yeah, some people just think that way. They think that travel is dangerous, and they think that if I had the money, I'll spend it on X, Y, Z rather than traveling around the world. But I have to say, when I am on, heaven forbid, well, it'll happen one day, but, not for a while, touch wood. When I'm on my deathbed, and I don't think anyone else will be lying there thinking about the things I bought 50 years earlier. Oh, I remember back in the mid-2000s when I bought that DVD player. Oh, that was the best. That was the best. Oh, remember that car that I used to have? Years and years ago. I think it was a Vauxhall, a Volkswagen Polo. Yeah. Oh, that was a great car. Yeah, that was a great car. Do you remember that time that I went to IKEA and I bought myself a light bulb? It was like a fancy light bulb. It wasn't like a normal light bulb. Oh, that was great. Bollocks. You will be on your deathbed thinking fondly back of the moments in your life, not what you freaking bought. The moments. Maybe if you have a treasured memory of a car, will be because you did something in that car or with that car that sticks in your memory. If you want to think about the times of your life, it's not going to be the days you went to the bloody office on the tube. It's going to be the days you didn't go to the office on the tube and you did something a lot less boring instead, as why don't you always implore us to go out and do? Like, you're going to be thinking about the places you went, the people that you met, the interactions of your life. This is what makes the fabric of your existence, of your narrative, of your story. And yet, these Tories don't want that. They don't want that. They just want you in your house, sitting there. Don't leave your village. Buy, consume, like the bloody aliens from They Live. because that's the Tory mentality. And we've got to move away from that. We need a sea change in the attitude of this country. And I think that the disaster, the twin disaster of the COVID reaction and Brexit, if this doesn't tip us over the edge to the valley of sanity below, I don't know what will. I don't know what will. Okay, so I'm going to wrap up now because I'm going to head over to the Discord server, but I've got like 5 minutes of things to do before I go over to the Discord server. So I have just, I did pass on the link a little bit earlier in the chat. I'll do so again. This link is only valid for 6 hours, and then it will self-destruct. So if you're watching this on catch-up, this link will not work. It's the one that's discord.gg/UVBWGVD. Okay, so if you click on that, I will be over on the Discord server in a few minutes' time. So make yourself at home. Head over to the voice chat and make sure, or video chat, I think it is, channel on the left, and then make sure your mic's working and your video and stuff like that. Just suss it out. Once you do it once, you'll pick it up. It's a bit complicated to start with, but if an idiot like me can get to grips with it to some extent, then you can as well. So hopefully we'll see you over there in a couple of minutes. Just to say a huge, massive, gigantic thank you to all of my amazing patrons who have supported me thus far in my journey to take us back to the EU. I know it's early days, but we'll get there in the end. Thank you to everyone for watching this who's out there. Hi. Even the ones watching on catch up. Hi. Thanks to everyone who's thrown in a super chat, because obviously that's what makes this all worthwhile, really. For me, but no, thank you very much. I really, really, really appreciate it. I will be back tomorrow at the same bat time, same bat channel at 1 o'clock to talk more Brexit reality, climate reality, toxic nostalgia, news rip, and pop goes the culture. Whatever comes up, and obviously what you want to say, just put it in the chat, or download the Stereo app and then look out for @GrahamHughes, it's just my name, and friend me and I'll friend you back, and then you can call the show like Hank just did and like Lee just did, and we'll be able to have a conversation. So that's the plan. So thank you all again, and I will see you over on Discord in about, let's say, 7 minutes time. Okay? Until then, hello, good evening, welcome, and goodbye.